The first time it happened, I assumed it was a misunderstanding. I had just finished an interview at a small marketing company downtown. The manager, a friendly woman named Carla, had shaken my hand twice before I left. "We'll be in touch soon," she said with a warm smile. For the first time in months, I felt hopeful. I had spent nearly a year sending out resumes, sitting through interviews, and hearing the same polite rejection emails, but this time felt different. Carla seemed genuinely impressed with my portfolio. 2 days later, my phone rang. "Hi, this is Carla from Brightwave Marketing." My heart jumped. "Hi, yes, hello," I said quickly. There was a pause on the other end. "Listen, I'm calling about something concerning. Someone contacted our office this morning, claiming to be a family member of yours." My stomach tightened. "They told us you have a criminal record, and that hiring you would be a mistake." I froze. What?" I whispered. Carla sounded uncomfortable. "They said they were your parents." My mind went completely blank. "I don't have a criminal record," I said quickly. "I've never even had a parking ticket." "I understand," she said gently, "but the call raised concerns with upper management. For now, we're going to move forward with other candidates." The line went dead a few seconds later. I sat on my bed staring at my phone, trying to process what had just happened. Why would my parents do that? At first, I convinced myself it had to be a prank, maybe someone pretending to be them. But a week later, it happened again. This time it was a bookstore where I had applied for a part-time position. The manager called me personally. "I'm sorry," he said awkwardly. "Your father contacted us earlier today. He said you'd been arrested before and that we should run a background check." I felt my chest tighten. "That's not true," I said. "I believe you," he replied, "but we try to avoid situations that could cause problems." Another rejection. Another door slammed shut. I didn't confront my parents right away. Part of me was afraid to hear the answer. My parents had always been controlling. They had very clear expectations for my life. When I told them after college that I wanted to move to the city and work in marketing, they hated the idea. "You're wasting your degree," my father said. "You should stay here and work at your uncle's accounting firm," my mother insisted. But I wanted something different, something that felt like mine. So I moved out. At first they called constantly, asking where I was, who I was with, why I hadn't visited more. When I started setting boundaries, the tone of those calls changed. Disappointment turned into anger. Then silence. Now I wondered if the silence had turned into something worse. The third time it happened, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I had interviewed for a junior marketing role at a startup. The interview went incredibly well. They even showed me the desk where I'd be working. I was already imagining my first day. Then my phone rang the next afternoon. The hiring manager sounded uneasy. "Someone claiming to be your mother called us this morning." I closed my eyes. "She said you were involved in legal trouble a few years ago, and that you're hiding it from employers." My hands were shaking. "That's a lie," I said quietly. "I'm sorry," he replied, "but the situation makes things complicated." Click. I sat there staring at the wall for a long time. Then I picked up my phone and called my parents. My mother answered on the second ring. "Oh," she said coldly, "you finally remembered you have parents." "Did you call my employers?" I asked. Silent. Then my father's voice appeared in the background. "Put him on speaker." My mother sighed and did. "Did you tell companies I had a criminal record?" I repeated. My father didn't hesitate. "Yes." The word hit me like a punch. "Why would you do that?" I asked. His voice was calm, too calm. "Because clearly you're not capable of making good decisions on your own." My chest tightened. "So you decided to destroy my career?" "We are protecting you," my mother said. "From what?" "From yourself," my father replied. I laughed bitterly. "You're lying about me to strangers." If that keeps you from ruining your life in that city, then yes, he said. My hands were trembling. Do you have any idea what you've done? You can come home, my mother said softly. Your uncle still has a position waiting for you. Suddenly, everything made sense. The sabotage, the calls, the lies. They weren't trying to protect me. They were trying to force me back. You'd rather destroy my future than let me choose my own life, I said. You're being dramatic, my father replied. No, I said quietly, I'm being honest. There was a long silence. Then I hung up. For the first time in my life, I blocked both of their numbers. But the damage was already done. Several companies had heard the same story. A few even mentioned it during interviews. So, is there anything you'd like to explain? It felt like I was constantly defending myself against something that never existed. After a while, I realized I had two choices. I could keep applying and hope the rumors didn't follow me. Or I could get ahead of it. So I started being honest. During interviews, I explained the situation directly. My parents don't approve of my career path, I would say, and they've unfortunately contacted companies with false information. Some interviewers looked skeptical, but others looked sympathetic. One manager leaned back in his chair and said, "That's extreme." Yeah, I said. A week later, he called with a job offer. It wasn't the biggest company or the highest salary, but it was mine. The first thing he said when I accepted was something I'll never forget. Anyone willing to fight this hard just to work here, he said, is someone we want on our team. For the first time in months, I felt like my life was finally moving forward. Not because my parents approved, but because I stopped waiting for them to. And sometimes that's the only way freedom begins.